Hello, YouTube. Dees over here, and I am just checking in with everybody. You know, the last time we talked, I did tell you guys to, when you're doing the research on your trucking companies, to just really go in hard for yourselves. You need to ask those questions. You need to ask the questions that are going to benefit you and the company. The last thing you want to do is pick a company based on what someone else says and not have your own experience. How you doing out there, YouTube? Listen, drivers, trainers, if you're coming into the trucking industry, I'm going to need you, first of all, hit subscribe, hit like, hit that share button and start sharing my videos with other people. Tap on that notification so that you can catch my videos, you know, when they are coming out. I want to talk to you beyond the trucking company. So let's say you've picked your trucking company and you now are getting ready to drive. First of all, when you start sharing your videos on YouTube, please don't come across as you are the ultimate source of information for everybody. You're just sharing your experience. You're not an expert. Some of you have been around for a long time. That's great. Share your stories, but please don't come across like you're the person who is the expert. You need to be able to share in such a way that people are considering coming into this industry because it's something they've been wanting to do, and you hold the information based on your experience. I want to talk to you also about the companies that you do choose. Once you start driving for these companies, guys, be a role model in your companies. Do the very best, regardless of if it's a starter company, if it's a company you're going to develop your career in. Be a role model. You never know how you're sharing the information that you're sharing, how that's going to benefit you as a driver. So I just want to talk a little bit about my journey coming into trucking, guys. I never thought that I would experience the things that I have in trucking because I thought that I was just going to be a driver. I never knew that I was going to be an ambassador in the trucking industry. So just a quick timeline. I came into trucking in 1991. Next month, that'll be 34 years. During the course of my career, the first 5 years, I think, was probably the hardest because it was really me just adjusting and really getting to know this industry. I don't think that I ever wanted to be an owner operator, which is why I never did. And so my perspective comes from either being a company driver or a lease operator. So if you want to talk about ownership, I can connect you with some of my friends who are owners. They built fleets, or they have one truck and they're running that truck. You need to figure out how you are going to be a safe and professional driver. Representing your company well, you never know where that's going to lead, right? Your company might make you the brand face or the ambassador, or they have connections into other organizations that could make you the face of another brand, and or maybe you might be getting some brand deals. What you want to do is do your job, and you want to be really good at it. Give your company something to brag about when your name comes up. You know, I didn't come into it like that. The hardest part for me during my first 5 years was finding a company that absolutely suited me. I worked for several companies in the 34 years. In fact, Prime Inc. is the company that I have been with the most, and that is where my actual career took off. In 1991, I came in as a single parent on welfare. I was going through a divorce, so I won't say I was single yet, but I was going through a divorce with 4 kids. During the course of my career, I had a daughter who was killed by a drunk driver, and today would have been her 39th birthday. I won't lie, that was probably the hardest time in my life. I thank God, because at that time I was driving for FedEx Ground out of Sacramento, California, working for an independent contractor. I worked for him for about 6 years, and it was a great experience. That's when my feet were, really getting strong in the trucking industry. And then my daughter got killed. It happened right in front of her high school, and it changed the course of my life. I didn't know that at the time. Thank God for that company, because they allowed me 30 days off. I could have took more time, but 30 days it took me to really just get on my feet, mentally, spiritually, physically. And so with that being said, I want to thank the contractor that I was driving for at the time. His name was Steve Willis. I want to thank Scott, who was Steve's immediate boss that he reported to. These people at FedEx Ground supported me like there was no tomorrow. This was leading into a change in my career, losing my daughter. Now you might be saying, how did that lead into a change? Well, it led me to get involved with Mothers Against Drunk Driving while I was driving in California, which I did for 22 years. I was able to get involved with that organization. I had the support of my church, South Sacramento Christian Center. Shout out to them. Shout out to Mothers Against Drunk Driving for all the services and the support that they gave me during this time. It changed my life. Now, going through that at the time, it was very painful, and I did not think that this was going to change my life, but it did, because they started sending me to high schools while I was a local driver in California. And I got to talk to teens about drinking and driving and the impact that that has on families when a person is killed by a drunk driver. And in that case, it was my daughter. That was the first time that I ended on national television. There was all kinds of news footage, and I'm going to put a clip in right here.
A mother's worst nightmare. You get that phone call, there's been an accident, and Sova, you got that phone call almost 9 years ago when your beautiful daughter, Sharmelia Jeffries, let's recap the story of what happened to Sharmelia a couple years ago, well, almost 10 years ago now.
Sharmelia and my youngest daughter, Ebony, were leaving the campus of Christian Brothers High School. And right after they had just waved goodbye to all of their friends, they entered the crosswalk unknowing that a drunk driver would be heading their direction.
And we have to keep in mind, this is 3:30 in the afternoon when they got out of school.
This is in a school district. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour. This person was traveling between 50 and 60 miles per hour. There was a vehicle that was turning left into Christian Brothers High School, and that drunk driver hit the right corner of that car, which caused him to veer towards where my daughters were walking on the sidewalk. Sharmelia pushed her younger sister out of the way, but unfortunately she took the hit that ended her life. And it's been a tough road. I can never say that, this is something easy to deal with. We're not equipped to lose our children and bury our children. But that's what I've had to do, and so many thousands of people across the country every year.
And the thing about it, we've covered this story from the beginning to its end with the person who was responsible for this. He was sent to prison. And before this, you never experienced anything like this. This is your platform. to have your voice heard and Charmelia's voice heard?
Well, I look at it as, yes, it was a platform for me to speak about the issue of DUI, not necessarily just for Charmelia, but just speaking on behalf of victims across the country. Each year, MAD services 60,000 people who need the services. One in three teenagers will die because of a drug or alcohol-related crash. And it's really sad that so many people across the country have to live with that pain. I was fortunate in that I had a good support system around me, my family, my church, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and Christian Brothers High School. That was able to lift me up and give me the strength I needed to go to the high schools and talk to teens.
And speaking about Mothers Against Drunk Driving, there is a Walk Like Mad event coming up to honor people like Charmelia and raise money for awareness. So tell us about the walk that's coming up next Saturday.
You have the opportunity to really get involved here with Mothers Against Drunk Driving. If ever there was a time that you wanted to make a difference and impact other people's lives, the funds that are being raised at this walk are going to
Y'all look at that.
They're going to help support.
My husband was there, and so was my mom on the far left, my cousin Trina, my aunt Helen, and other friends and family members.
There's mad walks that mine on. So how much money are you hoping to raise through the mad walk?
Well, our team is going after $1,000. We really need more people to log on today at www.walklikeman.org/Sacramento and join Team Charmelia Jeffries. And even if you're not going to join our team, you can start your own team. This is about supporting MAD and what they do, because I know for me personally, the services that they gave me at the time that my daughter was killed are just phenomenal. If I didn't have that support, if I didn't have a support group filled with people who understood where I was at, because they also experienced the same thing, I don't know where I'd be today.
Now, I'm going to go down the line here and get everyone's name, and your name is?
No,
And why are you walking next Saturday?
just for peer support.
And your name is Trina. Hi, Trina. Thank you, Trina.
And I'm Helen. She's my niece, and I want to support her.
My name is William. I'm just here to support her.
Crazy.
Okay, William.
Hi, and I'm Colin. I'm just here to
Church
support
member.
you.
Hi, I'm Kim, and she's my daughter.
That's my mom,
and I'm
y'all.
here to support them if they need it.
And how
Rest
are you
in
holding
heaven.
up after all this time?
Well, it's been going pretty good, but sometimes, you know, you get up in your other land there and you think about all the times that we were together and the things we were doing. We used to have movie nights over to her house and stuff like that, but it's going okay.
And the money that's going to be
Being involved in that organization led me to be able to talk to politicians in my local city. I ended up on a lot of different interviews for local television stations. My daughter's story was printed in, back then it was known as 17 magazine. I don't even know if they're still around. I ended up being mentioned on the Dr. Laura show, which was another show that was similar to Dr. Phil. It was a radio version of that, and just so many things. Through that organization, y'all, it was the first time that I ended up going to the White House. In fact, myself and the whole team from the original founding chapter of MAD went to Washington, D.C. to talk to legislators, and it was just an extraordinary time. That led to me, when I went over the road, I got connected with Swift. Every dollar that I raised during the 2 years that I was with Swift, they matched that money. That led to me coming here to Prime Inc., which is where I now work. And Prime is where my career absolutely took off, because Prime found out about my background as a speaker. I later went on to become the secretary and president for their board of directors for that founding chapter. Prime found out about it and started sending me to their customers to talk to their customers. That led to me getting on the driver advisory board. That led to me getting nominated to become on America's Road Team. So today, not only is it my daughter's birthday, but back in 2019, I made the American Trucking Association's America's Road Team. I cannot tell you how priceless that experience has been. Through America's Road Team, I was able to become a voice in the industry, sharing my story. That led to me going to the White House 2 more times, House of Representatives and the Senate. And it led to me going to some really awesome trucking events that absolutely changed my life. I was able to network and connect with people on a higher level. I have spoken to rooms full of CEOs, been on the phone with senators, governors, legislators, and people who have the power to influence the trucking industry. And when I tell you that was a very priceless and unexpected experience, y'all, it has taken me to places I never expected to go. So right now, while you are developing your career, I need you to see the end before you even get there. Where do you see yourself going? The beauty in all of what I'm telling you is this. Coming here has absolutely changed my life. You know, the people that you get in front of, y'all, I've been on Fox News, CNN, the Tamron Hall Show. In October, I won an award through the American Trucking Associations and the Trucking Cares Foundation. I'm sitting in this audience full of other drivers who are on America's Road Team, and the CEO and president of the American Trucking Associations, after we did all the other preliminaries for an event in October, which took place in Nashville, we were sitting off to the side. And all of a sudden, he gets up and he starts talking about an award that was going to come out called the John Lex Premier Achievement Award. So I didn't even know whether I was even being considered for something like this. So he starts to tell details about the person who's going to win the award. And as he started saying, I was like, wait a minute. And then he said a few more things that sounded like parts of my history. And then I go, wait a minute. I'm sitting there, and then he said she's a life coach to widows, truckers, parents who have lost their children, and children who have lost their parents. And I knew he was talking about me. Y'all, he read off my whole resume in front of a room full of trucking professionals, and I just sat there on the side just crying, trying to get myself together until he finally called my name, and I walked up on the stage and I won that award. And here's a picture of that. When I tell you that was a pivotal moment for me, I was speechless. In the audience were a ton of trucking professionals from all different walks of life in the industry, and my Prime Inc. family, my CEO, top sales guy, leaders within the company, a couple of our drivers, in-house folks from Prime were all in the audience, and they had no idea I was going to win this award. So I walked up there, and as I walked up there, I'm just in tears. My picture is on the board, and I'm just in tears because I knew in that moment that somebody actually saw the work that I put into this industry. And that was so powerful and so gratifying that it changed everything that I thought. You know, sometimes you're working hard and you think that people aren't watching you. They're watching you. And if you are at a company that is not recognizing their drivers, what's going to set you apart to make your company want to talk about you? I found that when that moment took place, I found out how powerful I was. Okay, I told you guys in previous videos that you're going to learn things about yourself. You're going to grow through these experiences, and you never know how you're going to grow. You just got to grow through it. You're going to learn how strong you are. You're going to learn to find your voice. You're going to learn that nothing can overtake you, guys. You are it. Okay, when these companies are choosing you and you're choosing these companies, you have the awesome responsibility of becoming an outstanding person representing the brand that you roll. Every time you go down the highway, when people see you, they don't see you, they see the brand that you roll. So how are you going to show up for you and for your company? Are you aggressive out there on the road? Do you drive professionally and hold a standard? When you show up at customers, are you polite? Are you the driver that they wish all drivers were? Give your company a reason to brag about you, because typically if you do your job and you do it well, especially those of you who are local and regional and you go to some of the same places over and over in a full week's time, those are the customers that are seeing you the most. How are you representing your company's brand? And I will tell you, when you get to the place where your company wants to talk about you, you never know who else is watching you. So I can truly say that I've shown up in these environments, guys, and people knew who I was before I even opened my mouth. That right there has been amazing. They have heard my whole history in the trucking industry, how I mentored women drivers for years. They brought up how I was a member of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, that I had a daughter that was killed all those years ago. They also brought up how that just led to so many other things. And, you know, I'm just really grateful and honored, because this is what I expected from the beginning. Okay, what I knew when I came into trucking was that this was my gift, and how could I use it? The only way that I could use it was I had to become an outstanding person to make my companies pay attention to me. I worked for some companies that absolutely did that, and they showed me that. And then there were others that I worked for over the years that did not appreciate what they had. But when I came here to Prime, they saw an opportunity to take an extraordinary former woman who was on welfare with 4 kids, going through a divorce when she came into the trucking industry, and they saw the storyline and how that could benefit the company. What are they going to find out about you? Okay, you have to establish yourself as a leader before you even become a leader. Okay, start carrying yourself in a way that represents your company and represents them well. Start changing the verbiage that you're using when you talk to people. Start acting like you care about what you do and start showing up to your customers looking like a professional, not in your pajamas, flip-flops, unprofessional, not caring, talking anybody to anybody any kind of way like you're their homegirl or their homeboy. You are serving the customer for the brand you represent, and that is how you need to show up. That is how all of these things put together. The one thing I always did was make sure my presentation was good. I always made sure that my vernacular, my verbiage, what came out of my mouth was absolutely a benefit to my company. I've been on the phone with my CEO to local legislators right here in Missouri. He would get on the phone and brief me about who I was going to be talking to, the topic that we're going to be discussing, and that led to so many other things. All of last year, so the American Trucking Associations created out of them a group organization called Women in Motion. These are some powerful women in the trucking industry who truly are making a difference. They have been in their first year already, and all of last year, my role on that Women in Trucking, Women in Motion's platform was to help tell my story and to speak to legislators, representatives about the independent contractor business model. Now, I know a lot of people out there don't agree with it, but I work for a company where that is what we do. We have two types of leases. One is just a regular lease. Well, you're continuing to lease a truck every 4 years. And then we have a lease purchase program. And so several of our drivers have finished their leases and started another one, whereas others have absolutely bought the truck and they're still running for prime, or they took their truck and went somewhere else. Either way, whether you believe in that or not, I was the person who was a spokesperson because Joe Biden's camp did not like the independent business role model. So through Women in Motions, I was able to help facilitate that. And I'm so thankful that I did, because it means that those who choose to do that, they can continue to do what they do. And so I said all of that to say this: you are more than where you are. One day you might be the person that builds a multi-billion-dollar company in the trucking industry because your brand is so solid. You've got a fleet and you're doing amazing things in your fleet. Or you are going to be the person that is going to change some of the laws, or who knows what else. You may be a brand ambassador in the trucking industry. Either way, the only way that you are going to see that is if you start to act like you want to be that person. You got to see yourself being that person before you even get there. That means you carry yourself like that. You honor the role and the position that you are in, and you walk out your entire career by faith. Now, while I told you all of that, I still want to encourage all of you to start your own YouTube channel. Stop wasting time watching everybody live. Guys, social media as we know it is about to change. In case you haven't noticed, there's a battle of platforms right now. It's real subtle, but everybody is vying for your attention. YouTube has been the only platform that has been consistent, and they are absolutely pushing out small content creators. Get your storyline together and join the rest of us getting on here, telling what we do, telling what you do, telling what your experience is like at your company. Keep it respectful and show people what you do you every single day. The time is going to come when you're not going to be able to do that, and you're going to wish that you had listened to what I said. But anyway, y'all, I got to get back in here to my class. They are coming back from lunch. Y'all have a blessed, wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.